All right, so today we are going to look at this beautiful set of database schema, and I'm going to walk you through what we have for this e-commerce schema and why we have it to be this way in this e-commerce schema. So right here, so let's just dive deep into this, right? So I'm just going to zoom in into this now, and I'm going to come right here. So we have two tables here now. We have the user row and we have the rows. So we have a table called row, we have a table called user row. So one thing that we should notice about this thing now is that here is something that, okay, now this user row now, we're having an ID, and this ID right here, now is more like, and this table right here now is like, okay, now we have the ID right here, we have the serial, this field here is serial, right? Then we have the name. So the name here now is taking a character, and this character now we are saying that this is a virtual character, and we want the max length of this character to be 80, and this NN stands for not known. So at no condition should we accept or should we save a row where the name is empty or the name is a new file. We don't want that scenario. We don't want to be able to do that in our application. Then we have the description, and the description here right here, we have it as text, right? We have it as text here. So we have updated ads, we have created ads, and we can here now we can see that the timestamp right here we can see the timestamp here, and looking at the timestamp here, we can say something like, okay, now this is timestamp TZ, that's the field, right? That's the data type of this field, and this is not just an online timestamp, but we are stamping the time and also the time zone in that particular area. So we have the user rows here now, and here now we can see that this row now is listing to the row ID and also linking to the user ID table right here. Then we are linking to the user ID to know who granted this user this particular row. Then we are saving the date this row was granted to the user, right? And we can see this not known again, that none of this field should be known except for this granted by is linking. This can be okay known. Then we have this big serial, which is a primary key. So when you see a key like this, it's going to signify that this table is a primary key, right? Like this field is a primary key of this table. So you can see that same symbol here, and when you are seeing here now, this is a foreign key. This is linking to another field from another table itself. So we have this category itself now. And one thing you will notice about this category table is that you can see the ID is also linking to the parent ID. So what we are trying to say here now, looking at the way it is placed, is that a particular parent right here can have a particular category can have a category above it as its parent, and it can also have a category as a child. So whereby the parent category now can now have a grandchild category in that sense. So that's what you have here by linking the parent ID to back to the field of this ID, which means that let's say that this is category 1, this category 2. So I can easily say that, okay, now this category 2 is inheriting something from this category 1, right? Or it's related to this category 1. Then we can see the name and the slug field. So we can see these are both virtual, right? And this virtual now, the length we are putting here, that we're saying that, okay, this max length, the minimum length, right? We're saying that the max character of is allowed here in name now is 150 character, and NN also stands for not known, don't forget that. And here now we're looking at the slug also. We are saying the slug for this character now is like 180, which is like 180 character. That's the max we are going to allow. Then we also have our created and updated that as usual. You can see the timestamp TZ represents time zone. That's the timestamp, and also we are keeping the time zone also, not just the timestamp like that itself. So that's something that you should know when it comes to things like this. Then we're seeing the image URL. Right now, the image URL now we're having like a character, a max length character of 500 characters, right? So that's something that you should know. So we have the session, user session. So user session table is to keep track of, just as the name of the table says, user session. right? So we want to keep track of, okay, for every user session, we want to keep track of some details of this user. So we have the ID, we have the user ID, we have the ID of the table itself, we have the user ID of the session itself, that's the user that logged in for that session. We have the token hash, right? So the token we use to authenticate the user, we want to store a hash value of this token. Then we have the IP address of the device this user used to log in. For every session we want to do that. Then we have the user agent, and we have the dates that this user session is going to expire, right? So you can see difference that some are non-known and some can be knowable, right? And we have the date that this user session was revoked, and we have the date it was created also. So now we can look at the users table. I want you to notice about users table here that we have our ID as always, and we have a UUID, and also have an email. So a way that this could have been done is that this UUID will have been all the IDs, and it's going to be representing the ID. So whereby the ID is just here and the UUID is here, and we are putting the key to represent that this UUID is the primary key instead. So we have an email with a max length, the character max length of 255 character, and also this cannot be known, right? Then we have the phone. We have the phone here, right? This phone is a virtual, right? A character of 30 max length, right? Then we have the password hash, which was stored. So when you're talking about users now, users credential, you don't want to store the password itself in a database. You want to store a hash value of this password in a database, because you don't want anybody to have access to your database to automatically be able to log into anybody's account and do anything with it. So we don't want that, and that's why we are storing just the hash value. So if you're asking for the password again, we're going to convert it to a hash and compare the two hash value whether they are the same thing, because you're using the same secret key to convert them and the likes. So we have first name, last name, then we have gender. All right, so we see first name, last name here is just like, okay, it's a virtual of 100 characters, not known as always. So we see gender here now, and we see E. When we see E something here, we mean is an enum value, right? So this is a selected field, right? This is a selected field. So we are telling you that, okay, now there's a possibility for a gender, and I want the gender to be a selected field. I don't want it to be just like be typed in as text format, but I want it to be like, okay, there's a drop down for this, and we are very much key into the verification of what we have from this drop down itself, and that's why we're doing it this way. So now if you now look at this, now we have the avatar URL 500 character maximum, then we have the email verified, phone verified. Before that, you can see this status again. I can see that this user status itself again is an enum value. So if I should scroll down here, you will see what you mean by enum value, right? So I'll just zoom out a bit here. So when we say enum value, now you can see the user status here. So it's either active, inactive, suspended, or pending verification. So these are the enum values that we can have here in the selected field format. So that's something that we can have there like that. So, okay, so we go back to users table. So we can see that last login too. So we are taking the last login of this user. Then we also take the date of birth. Now, the date of birth is a date time field, and you can notice the difference between this date of birth now and the normal type zone that we do ourselves. So here now we want to have a table for the warehouses. So this is an e-commerce application, and we are going to be shipping products. So we want to know which warehouse has this information that we are going to be shipping. We want to know that, right? We want to know which warehouse have this information that we're going to be shipping itself. So we're going to continue with this, and I'm going to continue doing them as it ought to. So we can see here now name code. Here now something that we have different here is code, and this code is virtual of 30 character maximum. Then we have a non-new, it as a non-new field. Then we have the address of this warehouse in a text format. So that's something that you should also pay attention to. So the address of this text format now is E. The address is in a text format. Then we have a city, we have a country, we have this active, we have boolean, and we just see now that it's active now is a boolean, which means like you can only allow to check a button, right? It's either true or false, right? So we see the shipping methods. For the shipping method right here now, we want to have name. Then we want to have carrier. Then you can see something like estimated days minimum, then estimated days maximum. So these are going to be like integer. So we want to be able to say between like, so your shipping should arrive in 1 to 2 days, or 1 or 3 days, right? Or 1 to or 30 to 45 days. Some kind of things like that. So we can now see the base scores of this shipping, and here now you can see it in numeric, or you can otherwise might have just used decimal, right? Can I just say, okay, this is all right, this is going well. Can also see it as active. So okay, so this is it. So we look at user rules now, we see that okay, I think we've looked into this before, we've looked into user session. So now let's talk about products. So look at this product table. What you see is that there's a UUID, there's an ID, right? And also we always see our non-new field as always. Then we have a short description here. Then we have a normal description, right? So like short description is like the description we will show we will review at the API for when the list is showing, right? When the list of the speakers or the list of what we are expecting is showing for. Yes, for the products, that's what we want to see there. Then we have description. And description here is something like text, right? So we have description to be equals to text, and we have base price. So base price is more like the starting price, and we have a compare price, we have a cost price, we have a SKU prefix. So these are just e-commerce terminologies that you need to put into consideration. Then we have status, and now you can see this E again. That status is actually you have impressing status back at home, and all right, so we can now see that we have meta title, meta description created by, and created at and deleted at also times 2. Then we have this cart table. All right, you can see this cart table is just, I see just maintaining flow. We have the ID, the UID using the big integer, user ID using the big integer, right? Then we have session ID. So for this, we want to keep track of session because we want to be able to allow users to add product to cart even when they are not logged in, right? Then we have the expire ID, expires at, I mean. Then we have the wish list, right? And the wish list is like you sort, you know, in mostly e-commerce application, you are wishing for this to be available, for this to be done. And all right, then we have the name is public, created at. Okay, so you are wishing to get this product soon. Then we have the ID, the user ID, the name is public, created at, and updated at itself. Then we talk about addresses table now. So this addresses table now, you can see yes, we have again this address type now. You have this enum, and if you go and check down, so everything that you should like. Okay, let's look for address type also. So here now you can see address type here now. You can see shipping, billing, or both. Right, so these are the values, the drops that we want to display when we are looking at the address type itself. Right. Then we look at the coupons, right? So you know that coupons are like codes that you can enter to get some discounts. In your application. So these are something that work well, something that you can use to get discounts in your application. Also, so there's like great things that you have to put into consideration when you are building an e-commerce application. So yeah. So the next thing we want to look at now is discounts. So we have the discount table, and you can see that there's not much new thing there. It's just like the tables, the qualities you have, like the tables terms you have been using and the field you have been using. So there's not much different types of field or data set or field in that sense. So you can see right here now that most people are going into like data science or data analysis or maybe AI, right, when it comes to this. So you have discounts. So this discount type, can say there's nothing. So you see the discount type as enum as usual, as enum value as usual. Is going to provide a already worked out drop down for us, and the validation will be stronger. All right, so we can move to another table now. So you can see product categories, and this product category is linking to category ID and also to product ID. Then we have is primary. So is this a primary product category? So you can either check that whether that is true or false. Then we can now have product variants. So this is type of like when you are getting a clothes, there are different sizes of clothes, right? There are different ways to clothes, like different sizes of clothes as usual. So now you are now to determine that, okay, I'm getting a variant. Which variant am I getting? Is it the large? Is it the extra large? Is it the medium? Right, so that's going to be what is there. Then we have the order table. If you move down now, we see the order table, and we can see, wow. Okay, so we have the UUID, we have the user ID, we have the order number, max of 50 character. Then we can see status, currency, subtotal, discount amount, shipping amount, tax amount, total amount, coupon ID, shipping address ID, billing address ID, notes, IP addresses. Right, you can just see different things like that. Okay. Alright, so that's all for this table now. Because there's nothing new, we're just using more of decimal value there, and I'm putting them under protection as many as we can. Right, making sure that these things are not known. So we don't want the user to be able to send a request, a post request, without collecting some of this field. So here now we can see product images. So like now when you have product variants, some of the variants will have like different images. Let's say your variant is based on color. We now want to have like, okay, these are the colors. Right, so I can see now we are showing is this product images, that's a thumbnail, that's a boolean. That's a nice innovation there. We have the inventory. When we talk about inventory now, we can see that these are quite alright. Right. You have the variant options. You can see how these look like and what these look like. So from this, you can detect what they do and what they are meant to be doing. Right. You can see this is connected to variant ID. Yeah. Then have the cart items. So you can see that we have the cart and we also have the cart items. So there's difference between these two. So the cart like is the system itself. I help you check out. So the cart ID now is everything you try to get and improve your customer service. And that's why you guys should know this. So you see the cart ID, variant ID, unit price. So can continue going like this. Now you can see wish list item also. The wish list item now, they are actually the items. So like the wish list itself is also like a cart. But instead of holding the items you are ready to purchase, it's holding the items you wish for. So you're not ready, but maybe you're coming back in the future for these items, or you're trying to get your salary before you go ahead and purchase these items. That's why wish list is there. So you can see that wish list now, you can see what it does. So we can look at payment also. You can see that we have some enums right here too. Payment method, payment status, and these are all going quite alright and good. When look at other items too. So we have it like that, like other items. So we want to know the items that you order as a person, and that's why we have it in that way. Okay, so we move to the next now. We have shipment. So we have a table for tracking shipment, right? And here now we can see the ID, the order ID, the shipping warehouse. All of them are just linked, right? So we have in each shipment now, you can see you have a tracking number, the carrier name. So you can see how this works now. So then now you can see that for every coupon that was used, we have a table to keep track of that also. So yeah, now we have the payment, right? We've seen this before. We have inventory movement here. So we have the ID, we have a big serial. I can also have some fields, you have a reason for moving this inventory. So you know, you can see that inventory movement. So yes, you can see that this table is working quite alright. See the inventory movement. We see the fields we have in inventory movement. And also we can look at this and we can see right here payment transaction. We see the table out payment transaction is ordered and arranged in this way. So you can see product reviews. Alright, so once we're able to store the reviews for the vendors and everyone to see, right? Alright. Now another thing that you should know right here is that okay. So We have product review. Now we can have rating, and we can see some integer here. Like, I don't know how you use to score. So yeah. So we have the product review. So we have is verified right here. I would say is verified is a boolean field. Also, right, we're just going to mark yes or no. We have the shipment items too. So now we can see what our schema look like from a broader perspective and view of things. So, that's it, TV, and every one of us can try to play our part. So we're going to encourage more people to play their part also. So now you can see the example of what the enum look like when it comes to enum shipments and status, and it comes to not shipping, awaiting pickup, in transit. So this is going to work as a drop down. Let's come for the backend. So alright, then we have more enums right here, and this is going to be quite useful. You can see what it looks like. So this one is quite the same thing, just a bit of duplicate. So you can see the enum value right here, zoomed, and this anywhere you see E, the enum value, it just means this is quite well documented, right? So yeah, that's a quick look into having a database schema for e-commerce application. So let me know if there's any type of this video you would like to see in the comment section or in the live chat. Thank you. So that's something that we can see, right? I know it's working well, doing well. So yeah, if there's another video you'd like to see, if there's something you'd like us to do on live stream together, or you just want a long form video, drop it down in the, let me know. Alright, so don't forget to like and subscribe.